Western European cultures had been hoping for a return of the classic age. With the return then, not the return, they never had it before, with the translations of these ancient works, brought about a great renaissance. People then expected would be natural because this combined both a rational as well as a spiritual system. The two could be interchanged, and they were one. There was no problem in finding any opposition between the use of the mind and the development of the spiritual life of man. This was a very interesting period of time. So much so that some of the thinkers were saying that the writings of Pseudo-Dionysius could be considered on the par with scriptures. Then came the implications of Allah's work when he said, "Excuse me, this is based upon a forgery." And Isaiah Casabandu, when he pointed out that these dates were all in error. At the same time, from Islamic Spain came great translations at the same time. Of course, they were doing that for 200 years before, and therefore, with this came a whole drive of mathematics from the Arabs. Works on astronomy woke up people, gave them a new hope, a way to understand nature as well as themselves with an ecclesiastical order. Then a silence fell over it all. Because the implications of this are pretty serious, aren't they? Lorenz of Valla also showed that the Vulgate translation, Latin translation of the Bible, had very interesting parts which are very questionable compared with the Greek, which was now coming in from the East. Therefore, the metaphysics was in question. The very translation, the foundation of the Catholic Church, the Vulgate, St. Jerome's translation of the Bible was in question. Another work of Lorenz of Valla, he questioned the need for the Catholic Church and showed that the basic doctrines of the Catholic Church were based upon forgeries called the Donation of Constantine. Therefore, along came a chap by the name, I wonder whether you remember his name, Luther, Martin Luther. He looked at this and he said, wait a minute, we need a new translation. We don't need the metaphysics. We don't need to be attached to Rome. Then came the Reformation. With it came the drive to establish Christianity in terms of the Bible alone. Base Christianity on the Bible alone. That's what they did. The New Testament alone. Forget everything else. Well, then the universities that were supporting these intellectual systems no longer had any need to support them, and therefore there was a silence and an end to this kind of serious study, and it was abandoned. It was abandoned, except for a few scholars, because to return to it with any serious intent would be run many a risk. Now, what has happened historically now, up to 1996, 1997, is that people have found that try to base Christianity on the New Testament is fraught with peril because it cannot be done, because it doesn't support the Christian theory. the very basic concepts of Christianity cannot be found in the earliest writings in the New Testament. That's all. This has had a profound effect on many people. What does that mean? You know what that means? That means this whole development for some 500 years has been an error. That's all. It's been an error. The whole thing's been an error. Mistake. Because there is now another silence, because you can't reconstruct Christianity as it is expressed popularly from the writings of Paul. You can't find that in the Gospels, or you can't find it in the early writings of Q or the Gospel of Thomas. You can't find any support for it. So now in theological circles, there's a new silence. What are we going to do? What can we base it upon? It didn't work. It didn't work. Two consequences from this. Now there's a new movement in theology that says, look here, Christianity developed for hundreds and hundreds of years. It didn't develop because the Pope sat down with the Bible, the New Testament, designed edicts based upon the New Testament. He did it to meet all kinds of needs and purposes that developed Christianity. Christianity, therefore, is a tradition. It's a tradition. It developed its views throughout its history, under all kinds of needs, historical, psychological. And just because it can't be based in the New Testament or Q or Gospel of Thomas shouldn't make any difference. What has developed, therefore, as the latest thinking, is a myth. The new thought is, look here, it is a myth. It's mythical. There's no basis for it. It's a myth. Okay, let's accept it as a myth. It's a myth. Only, would you not agree, the idea of myth and the word mythical are at odds with one another? Well, but that's the latest. This is where they're going. This is where they're going. Take the reality of what's been demonstrated. Then the only thing to say is that Christianity developed historically without recourse to the New Testament. And it can't be found in the New Testament because it never developed out of the New Testament. It's quite obvious now. Now what can we do? What can be done? Well, look what happened. To do this, European culture found a way to bring in all of these translations, prodigious effort. They brought all of these. They have rediscovered our past. See, look here. They rediscovered our past. Because the past is pagan. Pagan means people living in the countryside. All of these thinkers, the spiritual roots of Western culture, are pagan, are Greek, what they call Hellenic. Well, all right. Do we have to throw out the New Testament because the basic ideas of Christianity cannot be found in the New Testament? If there's any reason to keep it, that same line of reasoning to keep it will be equally binding to keep this. But look here, from 529 AD, there has been a very serious, very serious historical